Hey guys, I'm Aaron Runt, and today is going to be a little different. I'm going to try to use AutoCAD to create a very simple part, and then once we make this part, I'm going to go over how to make the scales. We're going to do some section views, we're going to do some line weights, we're going to be doing layers, dimensioning heights, we're going to do a lot of stuff. Now this is going to be an interesting video because I am still a student of this software, so you're going to see some of my mistakes as I'm learning as well. But I'm making this so that I can remember how to do this later. So let's get started. So I'm going to be making this part right here. So if you need to, you can take a picture of it real quick, kind of pause the video, and go from there. So I'm going to pull this back over here. And I have AutoCAD. I just hit New, and I'm going to go over a couple of the things that I like to use or I've been learning to use with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit F7 if I want to make a line. If you'll notice that there's no constraint to the angle. If I hit F8, which is this right here, you'll see that now I can only make straight lines. This will help for dimensioning text, so on and so forth. And then I have some snap modes on right here that I'll go over here in a second. So I'm going to hit Escape. You'll see me hit Escape a lot. You'll hear it a lot. It's fine. It's just a way of deselecting. So now that we kind of looked at a couple things right here, the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my layout window and I want to delete what this is called a viewport. So I click on it, I'm just going to hit delete. I'm going to go ahead and do a page setup. So I type in page, I'm going to go modify. I'm going to be doing a DWG to PDF. I'm going to be using the extents of the drawing. I'm going to go to a expanded 11 by 17, so B scale. See, make sure that's right. Expanded B looks good. I'm going to hit center the plot, and then I'm going to come up to here, and I've been using monochrome. I'm going to show you something here in a second that might help later at the video. So I'm just going to hit preview. Gives me this big open view. I'll hit enter because that's how I want it to be. So now I've got everything in there. I'll hit OK. I'll hit close. Now what I want to do is I want to insert. So I type in insert. I click on that and I'm going to bring my drawing in here. Now see the dotted line? I just want to put the blue close to it just so that it's in there. It doesn't have to be centered. Now as soon as I drop this, I've got some windows down here that are going to let me populate. So I'm going to type in sheet 1 tab, assignment name. This is called a clamp. Runk. Let's hit scale. Now the scale is going to be interesting. We're going to do 3/4 of an inch is equal to 1 foot. So dash 0. That's going to be my architectural scale. Now I'm going to have to keep everything kind of close if I want it to fit. But this is the big thing that gets a lot of people stumped. So I'm going to hit date. It's 11/4/25, and I'll hit Aaron. Now it's a good idea to just turn on caps. Make everything caps. So if you want to, go back over here and make everything caps lock because that is standard. I hit OK. You see that everything did get populated. Now I want my drawing to be that scale we talked about. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in MV because I want to do a view. I like to snap to the top left corner and snap to the bottom right. And you see it did a little viewport right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in MS for model space. You see I'm in model space right here. So if I zoom up or down, it's going to change the scale of my model. So next I'm going to type in zoom, enter. Now I have this scaling factor. Now I'm going to show you another sheet. So if I'm doing a 3/4 of an inch equals 1 foot, my scaling factor is going to be 16 for the zoom. And whenever I do my standard 1/8 inch text, I'm going to be 2 inches tall. We'll come back to that in a little bit and go from there. So let me get this out of the way. So I'll click in here again, hit escape, type in zoom. I'm going to type in 1 divided by 16 XP, and I'm going to hit enter. Now what that did was it scaled my drawing. Hard to see it right now. Make a little bit of sense. I'll change it up when we get to the end so you can see exactly what's happening. So the next thing I want to type is on an MO. I'm going to go to the properties. I like to click off the model, and then I click back on the viewport. See how the display is not locked? I'm going to hit lock the display, so now I can't change that scale, which is helpful because that's how you screw a lot of stuff up. So a lot of prep work right here, but on my layer 1, I'm looking pretty good, or layout 1, I'm kind of done. I'll have to come back to this later. So I'm going to go back to my model space, and the first thing I want to do before I get started is I want to make some layer properties. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit new. I'm going to start typing these in. So I'm going to go model lines, enter. I like my model lines to be a green color. They're going to be continuous, 2 millimeter, it's fine. And then I'm going to keep on going. So let's make another one. Let's make center lines. So center lines, enter. Come up here, pick another color. Let's go pink. And let's go a little bit lighter. There we go. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now these are not going to be continuous. They're going to be center lines. So if I come up here and I hit load, and I click in here and I type in center, there's my center line. I hit enter. I select that's what I want it to look like, and I hit OK. So next I'm going to hit new again. This is kind of tedious. I'm going to go hidden lines, enter. I want my hidden lines to be white. Hit OK. Type on center again, and hit load, click, hidden, hit enter, click on hidden, and then I'm going to do again, I'm going to go dimension, I'm going to hit enter, let's go like an orange color, hit OK, and then dimension lines can be continuous, and I got viewports. Now viewport's going to be interesting. I'm going to hit enter. Now the viewport, I don't want it to print that border whenever I print on that layout 1. So I'm going to make this black, but I'm going to click this button so that it does not print. So it's not going to print my viewport setting, which is good. Now if I need to create some more lines, I can come back here and do it, but for right now, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to turn that off. Now if you'll notice, my picture is in metric, so I'm going to type in units. I'm going to hit enter, and when this came in, it's set to inches. Now my print is to metric, so I'm going to go to metric, put this in millimeters. It's in the decimal, that's fine, and I don't have any trailing zeros on that print, so I'm just going to make the precision 0. So I hit OK, and now finally we're ready to start drawing. So I'm going to type in circle, and then I'll hit enter. You can also come up here and click circle right here. There's a bunch of drop downs. There's a bunch of stuff up here, but we're also going to click down here. I'm going to show you 2 ways. So I'll hit enter. Now my origin is the big circle that's 30 millimeters all the way through. So I hit 0 tab, that locks it at 0, and I hit enter. Now notice how it's at the XY 0. Now I'm going to type in diameter, hit enter, and the diameter is 30, and I hit enter. This just kind of gives you a visual on what's going on, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to type in user coordinate system. I don't want it to be on, so this brings up a little sub-menu, and I'm going to click off. So now that's missing. So that's good. So now I kind of got a good view of what's going on, and I'm not going to have an extra stuff printing. So I have another circle, so I'll type in circle. We're going to do the same thing, 0, 0, puts it right there. Okay, make sure I type in diameter just to make sure it gets it just right. I'm going to type in 44. So looking pretty good. Now here's the next thing I want to show you guys. We've made the geometry, but remember this needs to be model lines. So you can either do it this way or you can start a different way. By meaning I'm going to go to layer properties. I'll bring my window over here. Now remember, these are model lines. They're right here. Now if I click on these lines and I come to the drop down, I can make them model lines because that's what they are. But if I keep drawing, I'm going to keep drawing in what has the check mark next to it, which is just white and continuous. Now this is cool. I'm going to double click on model lines. So now model lines is turned on. So all the model lines that I have here and will draw from here on out will be model lines. Now you can keep this window open over here. I like to close it and then I reopen it. A bit tedious, but that's how I like to do it. Now I have this circle right here. I'm going to start drawing my next point, and you're just going to have to follow along as I do it. There's multiple ways of doing it, but I'm going to draw a top view of that drawing. So I'm going to do another circle, enter. This is going to be really cool. If I move my cursor to right there, now if you look down here, this right here is going to be causing snap reference lines. This is really helpful. So I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to start making this little line right here. Now I'm going to type in 54, because that's the distance to that circle. I'm going to type in diameter. Now it's a 10 radius, so I'm going to type in 20. And now I have that circle in the right location. And then I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to come up to here to my line, and I'm going to make another line at the other end of the part. So I click, I come up to here, like so I'm just going to offset this line, nothing big, and I'm going to hit offset. I'm going to hit enter for through, and then I'm going to offset that line 88 millimeters. Now this is really cool. I made this line, but I don't really need it, but I do need a center line. So if I click on that line and I go to center line, you'll see that it's right there. Now if I click over here on layout view, you'll see that my print is starting to come together, which is good. So anytime you need to, you can look over here to see what's going on. So you'll notice that the little dots right here don't look the same, and it's because my scale window is a different size. So I might be 1 of 1 over here, and it looks like that, but it looks right on the other one. Now if it doesn't look right, you can type in LTS, enter, and all these line weights, see how they're at 1? If I type in 20, it looks right over here, but if I go to layout, it looks like a solid line. So remember, this is where the blueprint's going to be created. So it needs to look right on this layout. So I'm going to hit undo. That way it doesn't look like this. So visually it's not going to look good over here, but when we print it, it's going to look just fine. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a center line. So I'll go to layer properties, double click on center line. I'm going to make a center line all the way through. Now remember, I can't make angles because I have hit the F8 button. And that's good, so I'll hit F8 again because I don't want to make angles, but I'm going to make this center line go all the way through the part. And then I'll go ahead and double click on my model lines again because I'm going to offset this through. And it looks like it's only going to offset the center line, but that's not a big deal. And I'm going to offset it 22, enter. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to click this, I'm going to go 22, enter. Now the direction I'm going is where it's going to be offsetting to. And I'm also going to click it. I'm going to go up 10. And I'm also going to go down 10. So I've got my slot here. It's going to be really cool. Now remember, if I do this, this is really neat. If I do a left click, see how it's not grabbing it? So if I left click, I have to grab this whole thing for it to highlight it. But if I go the other direction, I have this green box. As soon as it touches it, it's on. Now remember, this is a center line. I don't want to make this a model line, so if I hold shift left click, it deselects it. Then I'll come up to here and I'll make those model lines. Now there's multiple ways you can do it. You can click right here and snap to the tangency. This is just how I'm doing it. So I'm going to click trim. Now you can just left click on something, or you can click and hold and go all the way down. Well, I got rid of my center line, so I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to avoid the center line just like that. So that looks really cool. So I'll go ahead and get rid of this one, or get rid of that one. I don't need this or that. I don't need this one or that one or that one. So just like that, I've got a lot of what I need out of the way, and I don't need these. So that was actually really stinking quick. Again, you can do it however you want to. There's probably faster ways of doing it. That's just how I'm going to be showing it in this tutorial. So when I'm all done trimming, I'll hit escape. So I back up to here. Everything's deselected. And the last thing I have for this top view is going to be this little slot right here. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. So I'm going to left click and I'm going to grab this and I'm going to extend it a little bit further. And I'll hit escape again because I want it to go all the way through, because I'm going to do another offset. So I'm going to type in offset through, click my line, I'm going to go 2, enter, click it again, 2, enter, and then again I'm going to click this and that because I want those to be model lines. Now here's a cool trick. I'm going to click on this and I'm just going to bring it over to here. See how it snapped to the corner of that circle? That's what I want. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll click this circle, snap to it, click the box, come all the way over, snap to it. But I will have to trim these little slots right here. So we're almost done. I've got some fillets I'm going to put right here, but before I do that, I'm going to have to make an ortho view of my section views that I'm going to be creating. But before I do that, I'm going to make a line, and we're going to make it a center line. So I'll double click on center line. I'll go back to my line properties. Now I want to make it from right here, so I'm going to click this corner right here. Now see how I can't do it? Remember, if I hit F8, I have full control. So we're going to make this 30, and I'm going to hit Shift left arrow for the angle, so the greater than sign, 315. And I hit enter. That gives me a 45-degree angle. Then I just simply hit escape. Now remember, this is going to be helpful because I'm going to make this an ortho view, but I want to come off the corner, and it makes it a little difficult when I'm coming off a fillet. Now I'm keeping this line right here. Now I'm going to go up to fillets, which you can go fillet or you can type it. I'm going to type it because there's some information down here that it will hit enter. And if you'll notice, anytime you're not sure what's happening, look down here. There's a window here. Even if you click on a line, a circle, anything, it's going to have you look right here. So I want to make a radius. So I'm going to hit the letter R, enter. So it knows I want to make a radius. The radius is a 10, so I type in 10, enter. Now it wants me to select the object. So I click that line to that line. Notice how that stayed there, so I don't have to try to make the tangency work. And then I should be able to click here and here. But if that does not work, I will simply type in fillet again, enter, R, 10. It remembers everything, so it doesn't take that long to retype it in. And then I have my fillets. Now at this point in time, I've done a lot. So I would encourage you to come up here and start saving your work. Next, I'm going to make an orthographic view by using a section view of this part right here. Now, I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to call it section views. And I'm going to go with a very dark color, so blue, and this is going to be helpful because we're going to use this later. And I don't need any line weight to it. I'll go ahead and put a 3 on it just so you get an idea what it looks like. But what I'm going to do is double click on section views, and I'm going to make a line, and I'm going to go right through. Notice how I've got this going on right here. I'm going to hit F8 because I want it to be straight through, and then I'll just simply click it and I'll hit escape. Now notice this came in as a center line, so I didn't like that. So what I can do is I can come back to layer properties. It shows center. I can make it continuous, and then I can simply hit exit off, and you can see that it did fix it. Or I could have clicked on it, went by layers, and made it whatever I want it to be, which is really cool as well. Now it is kind of hard to see, but I'll zoom up on it just a little bit. Now right here, I'm going to do something silly, and I'm going to make some arrows. So I'll click it, come over here. I'm going to turn off F8 because I want to make some arrows, some custom arrows. Make it a 45. Just like that. Now this is really cool. Now I don't want to have to redraw that because that was silly. So I'm going to make this window, not this window. If you want to, you can, but you'll start grabbing other things. And I'm going to do copy. Enter. I'm going to click the base point of it. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to put another one right there. So now I didn't have to redraw it. And this is going to be section view AA. So I'm going to come up here to text. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to just do a capital A. And I'm going to hit close text window. But if you notice, my A disappeared. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take a look at this right here. Now remember, for a 3/4 to 1 inch scale, I need to make this 2 inches tall for 1/8 inch text. Or if you wanted to make it a 1/4 inch tall, you could do 4 inches. So it's just kind of whichever one you want to do. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to Annotations. And I've got a standard. Well, I don't have anything, so I have a 48, but I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to go New, and for the name, I'm going to put the scale factor, which is 16, for this architectural scale. The height is going to be 2 inches. I hit Apply, I hit Close. Now, when I highlight that, I come to Annotation, I click on my standard, and I go to 16, and just like that, my letters are going to be right. Not just my letters, but from now on, they will all be 16. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with my dimensions, but I'm going to do it before I get there. So on my dimensions, I'm going to do the same thing. I can either go New or Modify. So let's go ahead and just hit Modify for right now. And I'm going to go to the size of it under Text Height, and I'm going to type in 2, Enter. And then I'll come down here, and I'll hit OK. And so now I'm going to hit Close. Now I want to dimension something so we can see what it is. So you got different ways you can do it. The first thing I want to do is I want to double click on my dimensions. You can just click dimension, or if I wanted to dimension a radius, I could just type in dimension, radius, then hit enter. And it wants me to select an arc or a circle. So I'm going to select that, and you can see that it comes down and shows that right there. Now notice how my dimension line's dotted. So I will hit Escape, come back to my layer properties, I'll go to dimensions, and because we made the dimensions after the hidden, it has the hidden line. So again, I can click on continuous, hit OK, it does exactly what we want. Now see all these trailing zeros? I don't want all those trailing zeros. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that dimensioning annotation. I'm going to click that. I'm going to modify it again, and I can come back here and modify as much as I want. So if I wanted the arrows to be a little bit bigger, so on and so forth, I can come down here to arrows. Maybe I want them to be 5. So I hit 5, makes them a little bit bigger. We won't make them that much bigger. We'll hit 3, enter. But primary units, it shows precision. I want that to be 0, and it gives me a preview of what that is. So I'll hit OK. I'll hit close. It made my arrow much bigger, and it made that with no trailing, which that's fine. I like that. I can live with this. So next, I will just click on dimension, and I'm going to start clicking on stuff like this. So I just grab it, drop it, but maybe I don't want it right here in the center. So I click it and drag it up right there. So that's really cool. So that kind of shows you what's going on with dimensioning. But now that I made my section view, let's come back to this, and let's make this. Click on that, hit Control C, Control V, and drop it. I want to make this section view right over here because we're going to put some hatch lines in it, which is going to be really cool. So the way I like to do it is I'm going to come back up to here to Layer Properties, double click on Model Lines. I'm going to come back and click on Line. Now remember, it needs to be correct. So if I put my cursor right here and I start coming up, see how I put my cursor at both those locations and now it's kind of did a sketch? Well, it's because of this right here. It's going to show the reference. So I come back to my spot. I'm going to click. I don't want it to be angled, so I'm going to hit F8 again. And if I want to, I can come up to here and come straight over and do that. And then I can just click it, and then I can come over here, and I have to start looking at my print now, because the thickness of this is 15. So I'll just type in 15, enter, and I'll come back down here, and I can type in 44 because I know what that is, and I can type in 15 again, and that's it. Then I hit escape to take me out of that mode. Now the next thing I want to look at are these lines, because this is a section view, and notice how the arrows are pointing this direction. This will be solid, but this is open. So I'm going to do some more lines. So I'll come up to here, click there. It's going to try to snap there. So a lot of times if you're not, see how it has a little triangle down here? It's going to try to snap right there. But I'm just going to type in 15 and hit enter. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll come back up to here, click there, type in 15, enter. That kind of overrides that snap function. That kind of becomes annoying. So now I am looking at it through this direction. So it's like kind of flipping it up. That'll take some practice with your eyes. Next, I need to hatch this because this is cutting through the parts, like just cutting it straight off and looking this direction. So this is going to be material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to this hatch function, and I hit the drop down right here, and let's come down to Earth. Where's Earth? I like Earth. There's Earth. So I'm going to click in these two spots right here, but that doesn't look like Earth. It looks huge, and it's green. So we're going to have to do some work in here. So right here on scaling, I'm going to type in 20 and hit enter. Now I knew that was pretty close, but maybe I didn't want 20, maybe I want 40. Well, now I can't really tell it's Earth. So I'm going to come back down to 20 and hit enter. Now I don't want it to be green, I want this to be a very light color. So if I come up to this by layer, I'm going to change it to this, which is layer number 9, which is very light. And then I'll simply hit close. And just like that, I have model lines for my part, and I have the hatch lines where this part is cut in half. And the last thing I need to do is I need to identify what this is. So I'm going to go to my layer properties. We're going to click on section view because that's where it's got my blue color. I'll come up to text, and I'm going to call it section view A-A, and then just click off of it. And if I click on it, I can move it around, or I can click on it, type in the word move, click on it, and notice how it's going in a straight line. If I hit F8, I can move it wherever. But I was going to put it right about there. So that worked really well. And again, if I wanted to, I could do some dimensioning on here by double-clicking on dimension, click on dimension, put my cursor up here. So it has a 15. It's trying to grab that hatch line right there. So I can just click to there, and come up, and then I hit escape. So that works out really good. And again, if I want to do another one, I can just turn on dimension, maybe get the overall length of this part. I can put that on there as well. So that works out pretty good. And again, if I come look at my layout, you can see that it's starting to get more on there, which is really cool. So I'm going to go to model. And then again, we've done quite a bit, so it's a good time to come up here and do another save. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this because I want to find out what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to do another section view. I'm going to come through the circle about right here. You don't want to come along the center line because then it'll make it hard to see. But I don't want to redraw all this. So I'm going to do a left click and just grab that. I'm going to type in copy, enter, and I'm going to make me a new one so I don't have to redraw it and hit escape. Now I'm going to take these, I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit, because I'm going to have to change those, but I have to rotate this, and I don't want to rotate the letters. So I'm going to type in rotate. Just click right here in the middle or wherever you want to. See how it makes it straight? Then I can bring these back over to here. And then I can make them, because it's going to be the next section view, I can make them the B. So like I said, there's multiple ways you can do it. This is how I'm choosing how to do it. And then I'm going to grab the whole thing, type in move, and I'm going to click it, and I want it to come through my part. Now it's going to come all the way through the part, so I'm going to put it right about here, and I'll click it, but I need the rest of this to come out a little bit. So I'm going to grab this and that and this. So everything's going to be clicking. I'm going to just move these right here out of the way because I just need this line to be all the way through the part. And notice how it is still kind of close to that green line right there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll grab this. I'm going to move it down a little bit. A lot of power in this software. But you notice I'm just highlighting. I'm doing it very basic. Like I said, I'm still learning this software, but this is how I'm going to help myself remember stuff. And again, I'm right on that circle. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to grab this. I want to move a little bit further, and I'm going to click and drag it. I'm going to bring it up a little bit because I want it to be right about there because I want to grab those lines. But notice how my dimension's in the way. Well, you know what? I don't need that dimension. I'm going to just delete it. Now my print looks a little bit cleaner. So it's kind of up to you on how you want to do it. So this will not be hatched, and this will be hatched right there at the radius. So we got to make sure we pay attention on where this section view is at. So now I'm going to go ahead and start making those lines. I'll go Layer Properties. I'll double click on Model Lines, and I'm going to make some model lines. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to grab that model line right there, but remember, it's got to be lined up with this point right here. So I'm going to chase her all the way down, click it, and then I'm going to go from there. So remember, I got F8 turned on. I know this is 44 tall. I know the diameter is also 44, so I'll just start typing in 44. I come up, it's 44 minus 15, which is 29, and then I come back over, and if I'm not sure, I can just grab this, come all the way down, come up. Again, if you're still not sure, I've got my ortho view right here. Click it, let the software do the work for you, and then I just snap it right there. And just like that, I have a good view of the section B, which is looking all the way through the part. So now I'm going to grab some more lines because I've got to make these right here. So I come down, click there again. I know it's 44. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to snap right here, right where the intersection is, which is very helpful. That way it's drawn correctly. Hit Escape, and I'm going to do the same thing. Make another line. Follow it down. I know that's going to be 15. And then I'll do it one more time. And 15. And just like that, I have all these intersections right here where everything is showing. So now, before I get too far, let's go ahead and go back into our hatch lines. So I'm going to go back into hatch. I know that this is hidden, that is hidden, and this is all showing, which is good. So all my settings are still the same. I've still got the transparency set to 9. It's at 20. I'm just going to close the hatch. That way everything stays universal. Very helpful. So now that all of this is done and I know it's in the right location, I don't need this anymore because everything is correctly spaced. All I have left to do is dimension this model. So I'm going to double click on dimensioning and we're going to get after it. So I'm going to click on dimension, diameter. I want to go ahead and grab that right there. 44 is right. Dimension, diameter. I can click on this one right here. Gives me that. Now it does say through, so I can click on it and I can type in the word through and just click off of it so that can help you modify something right there. Now right here, I know that I've got this slot from there to there, which is 4. And I like to click it because it's such a hard way to look at it. I like to bring it out like that. And then it is kind of far away, so I'm going to scoot it in some. And then I have another distance, which is going to be 2. So I'll bring it right there. But it's a little bit close, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scoot it out a little bit. And I can scoot this out a little bit as well. And like I said, if I needed to, I could bring this to the other side to see if it looked better, but then it's kind of interfering with this. So you can see there's a lot of ways you can play with it and make it look cleaner. Just whatever you like. So that looks pretty good. We're going to go ahead and get some more dimensions right here. I'm going to help make this easier on myself by making another center line. So I'll double click on Layer Properties, do a center line, click right there. I'll come about right here. I'm going to make another center line so I can do some more dimensioning. I need one right here at the center of this radius. So if I go to the radius, see how I put my little arrow right here? I come down, come all the way across. And notice it took that model line and made it a center line. So what I might do is I might hit Control Z, and instead of this being a model line, I'll just come up here and make it a center line. And I'll just make it a little bit longer here and a little bit longer here. Works out really well because that's what I'm going to dimension from. So now I'll come back to dimensions. I'll close my window. I don't like too much on the screen. And I know I'm going to click from here to there because that's 54. And I also know that from here to there, that's also a dimension I need to have on there. I got 88 there. Now remember, because we went through and scaled all these, it's helping make it a lot easier. This right here, we did it earlier, but it's a typical dimension. So I'll hit typical, type it in, and if I wanted to, I could go to the end of it, and I could hit enter so it's below it. So it's whatever you want to do, doesn't really matter. or if you wanted to come to the inside, that would work as well. So now let's go dimension radius. We'll select this one right here, 10. I've got this right here. I need the height of here, so I'll come over there, pop it right there. And the good news about using this print as a tutorial is there's not a lot to dimensions. So if I'm missing something, feel free to make the comment about it, no big deal. But all my hatch lines are there, all my model lines are here. I do need to put the section view, so I'm going to go copy, Control V, double click on it. This is section view BB. So let's click off it, and like I said, don't make things too hard on yourself, make it easy. And I need to put the word metric down here. So I'm going to click on here, go back to section views, type on text, type in the word metric. I'm going to hit escape. It asks if I want to because I want to make a box around it. Something that says metric, and just like that, I would go up here and I would go ahead and save what we have so far, because right now we have a lot going on. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn this from a DWG to a PDF. So I'll come down here to layout, and I can move the window, but remember I locked my viewport. So what I want to do is I actually want to unlock the viewport. So I'm going to show you a couple ways. So I'll type in MO for modify. I'll click on the viewport. I'm going to hit no. So I'll click on that, hit MS. So now I can move this around right here. Now here's the next thing. I can type in zoom, and remember when I hit enter, it's wanting that scale factor. So I'm going to type in 1 divided by 16 XP, enter. That means nothing happened, which means everything's still set up correctly. But if I move this and I start zooming up and down, oh no, now everything's messed up. So if it comes over here and you haven't scaled your viewport window, don't freak out. Just come up here, type in zoom, enter, 1 divided by 16 XP, and then just like that, it is scaled correctly. Now I rotated that mouse again, so I'm going to type in zoom, 1 divided by 16 XP, and just like that, it's centered in there. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go MO, and we're going to lock that viewport again. So I'm going to click off of the viewport, click back on it. It says viewport. Display is locked. Everything is now ready to go. So now I can't move it. I have everything within my viewing window. It is scaled to the correct dimensioning. It is zoomed. Everything looks good. I just got a couple more things I have to look at. If I hit Control P, I want to look at the preview of this. Now, if you look at this, my model lines, my dimension lines, my center lines, and my hatch lines, everything looks like solid lines. Now, I don't want that. There needs to be some layering differences or line thickness difference between them. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to hit escape again. Now when I go to print, I'm going to go to grayscale. I'm going to hit apply to layout. I'm going to hit preview. Now what happened is it made all of my lines gray, made them lighter. But if you'll notice, I don't want my model lines to be grayed out, but if you notice my section lines, because they're that darker blue color, they are the color I want them to be. So I'm going to come back to my layer properties. I'll hit escape twice. I'm going to go to model lines, and I'm going to make the model lines the same color as my section view lines. Now when I hit Control P for print and I go preview, you'll notice that all my model lines are now darker than my dimensioning lines and my hatch lines. This is what we're looking for in a print before we send it to production. So with that being said, I'll hit escape, I'll hit cancel, and this concludes this tutorial on how to make it, because now when I hit Control P and I hit OK and I just hit save, you'll see that we have our drawing with our model lines that are darker. We have our lighter frame for our dimensioning lines and center lines, And you notice how the viewport is also not there, and all of our information's down here. So with that, we are done with this tutorial. I have done my model lines, dimensioned it, I've scaled it, I've printed it, I've put everything in there. A lot of stuff going on, but it is done, and this tutorial will help me in the future, and I hope it helps you. So again, my name is Aaron Runt. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.